Cool. I think I'm ready to podcast.
All right, Four Eyes. You're wearing
If you've
glasses.
enjoyed this show,
How we doing?
how am I doing? Is this are we on?
Have we started? Have we started? Is this a pod? Is this what the pod is?
We have done this bit like 3 separate times, dude.
Yeah, it's an easy one.
I'm good, dude. Like week 2 of sobriety. How about that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say something's different about you today, and it's funny that we talked about your beard last week because the beard's gone. You've clearly had a haircut. You're wearing your glasses. You're sober. What did I miss?
Just got. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the beard was basically the focus of the conversation for the last episode, and I just got too many compliments, I think, and I want to keep. I want to stay one step ahead of the audience and my friends and my family, and you.
And is it possible that you didn't like getting compliments, and actually that when you started to receive them, you needed to run away from it by removing the source of positivity?
100%. 100%. I just combusted. Story. Of my
You
life,
wanted to be
really.
part of the crowd. You tried your alpha posturing last week. You know, you're getting promoted too many times in the workplace, and you decided, I think sensibly for your own mental health, to take a step back into the crowd and sort of blend in for a bit. And I respect that.
It's a tale as old as time. I'm Icarus. I flew too close to the sun with the beard and talking about the beard and receiving compliments.
Yep.
And
the
I
wax
got burnt.
melted.
I got burnt by myself. I put my hand on the stove, which I also do.
On
Just
September
outside of the
11.
metaphor, I also do that quite a lot.
Famously on September 11, you burnt your hand on a stove, and
Yeah.
that's why you hate September 11. The
this is
trauma
not-
that you went through.
This is not even a joke. The other day I was boiling water for pasta, and I put my finger in it to test it, like without thinking. I put my finger in it. And I was like, what are you doing? You're a 36-year-old man. I just, my arm just, I didn't even do it. It wasn't even my fault. My arm did it.
Why? What were you? I mean, putting aside the fact that you clearly didn't think for a second, what were you? What was the question your body was trying to solve? Like, is it hot enough?
I think
Is the pasta ready?
Yeah, I think it was like, in my head, it wasn't, I couldn't see the bubble. Actually, it was starting to bubble. And I wanted to see how close it was because it was like a huge pot of water. And in my head, I think I thought it wasn't close to being boiling.
Sure.
So I thought, I was like, it's probably lukewarm, but it was borderline
It was
boiling.
really hot. Yeah.
It was probably about a 98 degrees.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
now my finger hurts.
36-year-old man-child. That's your voice. Maybe I'll get you a food thermometer for your birthday. Wouldn't that be nice?
I would love that. I'll stick it in my ass, if you know what I'm saying.
I don't think there's like other levels to it. I think it's like a single entendre joke. I think you just said the thing directly.
Read between the lines, everybody.
There's levels here.
Read between the crack.
Yeah.
Bum crack.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm fully recovered from my COVIDs from last week. Apologies to everyone who, I don't like listening to sick people, so I get if, last ep was a little bit like sniffly and congested. I get it. But I'm feeling good now, and I'm back to my normal dulcet tones. And thank you for everyone who reached out to check in on me.
Bullshit. Who reached out to check in?
Not a
on
single
you,
person.
dude? Yeah, because, dude, everyone's moved on.
Yeah.
Because if anyone else getting COVID, no one's bringing it up, and especially broadcasting it. No one gives a fuck. Sorry.
Well,
I'm only saying this
thanks for
because
your
you're
fake
out of
sympathy.
it now.
Yeah.
I had fake sympathy was when you had it.
Yeah.
100% fake, but
Yeah,
still
yeah.
there.
Now
Now
you
it's
can go
just
back
the-
and listen to it. Yeah.
And now it's just the tough love.
I'll tell you what really, cranks my gears. This
Calm
is
down.
this is a recent development this week. my TV killed itself, and I'm famously a media lover. I like me a little bit of TV. I like me a little bit of video gaming, and my 4-year-old TV on Tuesday just wouldn't boot up. And I tell you what, that is a very frustrating situation, and I have been going through the rigmarole of like speaking to the speaking to the retailer, to the manufacturer, and like
what
trying
brand?
to go.
Put them on blast.
This is a Sony. And under New Zealand law, the average, a good that's sold has to have of acceptable quality, and for TVs, that is 7 to 8 years of lifespan. So this is clearly a manufacturing fault that's happened in 4 years. This is not up to scratch, so they need to repair or replace it under, consumer guarantees.
Yeah.
But trying to go through that process of getting the retailer and the manufacturer to acknowledge what the law requires of them is just the most frustrating, tedious process.
God, I would hate to be on the receiving end of a legal warranty disagreement with you, dude.
I need Laura in my corner. I need all the legal, ammunition I can. But God, they came back to me and they were like, okay, so there'll be a fee associated with fixing that. And I'm like, no, there won't be. That's illegal. Your TV went from working one day to not working the next. It was stuck in a boot loop. Like, it wouldn't turn on. It would just show the Sony logo.
What's their warranty?
I don't know what their standard warranty would be. I'm guessing a year or two, probably. You don't get much more than that these days.
But that's not
it
the
doesn't
law
matter.
in New Zealand.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You have a consumer.
How could they get away with even saying we've got a 1-year warranty if that's
because
not
people
the
don't
law?
know their rights. People don't know that even if they have a warranty from the manufacturer, they have a legal right separate to that, and in addition to that protects their purchase. Because this was thousands of dollars worth of TV, and you should expect that something you spend thousands of dollars on lasts longer than 4 years.
How big is your TV?
It's 55-inch. It's a good TV. But like the point being that they just want to like give you the default response and get their services paid for, rather than recognize that they actually have an obligation to fix it. So I have been in the fight.
Well, TV mental health is huge, and there's been an epidemic, especially since COVID, of TVs just pulling the plug on themselves. So
yeah,
it's good to raise awareness.
Thank you for your support. I'll keep you updated, and of course, for anyone out there whose TV might also be on the fritz, I'll pop the numbers in their show notes to reach out and get help if you need it.
For all the TVs listening.
Welcome to Deep Thought, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on an episode of a podcast about the state of the world around us and the state of the men talking. Speaking to me this week through the internet, my friend Michael.
Hello, everyone, and good evening.
Thank you. And my name's Nick. Hello. Hi.
I saw Eddington last night.
Tell me about it.
Great film. Like, really brave.
Brave. Hashtag brave.
Yeah. It's a really good movie. I know you said that there was some polarity. Is that
the right word? It's mixed. I think it's people either love it or hate it.
Divisive, and it's a very interesting movie because it's obviously a lot of people probably know about it. Well, the top notes of it. It's like set in COVID. Joaquin Phoenix plays a sheriff who's really kind of losing his grip on this kind of small town. I'm not sure if it's fictitious, called Eddington. And he's resistant to the, mask mandates and stuff. And there's a lot of, it's not a political movie per se. I heard Ari Aster describe it as omni-political. Like, the film itself is not political, but it deals with political, that political hot pot at the time. It
can't escape the world that we're living in. Yeah.
Right. And it does it in a really fascinating way. I can see why the film would be divisive, because it's not necessarily forgiving to any particular side, like political aisle. It it shows how basically the film is kind of showing how crazy we got on, on the left and the right, and all the conspiratorial stuff. So I think, with the BLM is a kind of a big part of this movie as well. And it was a very, I don't think the film has an agenda other than saying, this is fucking crazy. We're kind of just siloing ourselves. I think that's ultimately the message of the movie. But it's a really powerful movie. I would really recommend everyone go see it. It's really interesting. I really want to hear your take on it specifically, actually.
I don't know if it's out yet here, or if it is, it's probably not in the main cinema, so I'll have to go look for it. But as it's not a loaded question, but do you feel like it is being deliberately centrist in like some of those things where it's like, this isn't a movie about politics, this isn't a movie about anything, this is just like the world as it is? Do you feel like by trying to walk that sort of middle ground, it's either A, misrepresenting one or both sides, or B, less effective in its arguments than it would be if it had sort of had a point behind it?
Just starting with the end part, definitely not. I don't think it would be. I didn't know much about it other than the kind of top notes going in, and the way it was kind of starting, I was worried that it was going to end up with the obvious thing, which was going to be, basically painting gun-toting Republicans in a certain light, and good guys and bad guys. And there's no good guys or bad guys in this. And I hear your point, and I've read some reviews. I think there was a New York Times review that kind of made that argument that it's like the film equates both sides equally, and it's that both sides, it's not a fair comparison kind of thing. But I really do think that the film itself is apolitical, and I think that's its strength. And it's less. Look, especially specifically with COVID, there was obviously anti-vaxxers and that kind of MAGA ethos really permeating society, and the anti-lockdown stuff was
individual rights, conservative, talking points almost, yeah.
Right, and that was turned up to 11. But I personally also think like the BLM was also a product of those times, and there were riots.
That predates COVID.
But the George Floyd thing in the middle of COVID, and there was, we talked about it on the podcast at the time. But the people that were vocal about, wearing your mask and staying indoors were also the kind of the same people politically that were very, quick to go out in the streets and protest and gather in. And I don't want to get into the minutiae of that, but the feeling of that was part of the feeling of on the other side, on the opposite sides of both of that political aisle, was part of this hot pot of just bubbling and chaos and conspiracy and just tension and craziness. And I do think that is, I don't think the film has an agenda other than it's not a political movie in that it's trying to give you a political message. It's basically just holding up a mirror to America specifically, I think. And that's what I would say about it.
I understand that position, I suppose. And look, as I've already said, I haven't seen it. I guess I just wonder, how can you make a piece of art that's devoid of politics in that way? Like, what do you lose by not examining where that side of it's coming from? Like, if all you're trying to say here is these characters, both, everyone sort of lost their minds in COVID, I suppose that's something. But does it not feel lesser or slight by ignoring the broader political ecosystems behind it? I don't know. I just find the idea of like, we're talking about the chaos of COVID, but it's not political, to just sort of be hard to understand, because the entirety of it was political. If it had been, say, Hillary Clinton in power at that time, right? Or if it wasn't Trump leading the way through that pandemic, things would have been quite different, right?
Yeah. Look, it's going to be tough to explain and have this discussion really without you having seen it. What I mean is that, the film is steeped in politics, you know, like in terms of plot and almost thematically. But what I'm saying is that the film itself isn't seen through one particular political lens.
It's not a pro-democratic argument telling off the conservative viewer for their idiocy. That's what you're saying by apolitical. It is.
Yeah. And look, like, Joaquin and Pedro and Ari Aster and Emma Stone, who are the stars, and Ari is the director. Like, we know what their politics are. So there's that. You have that. Okay, so like you I think that's maybe a bit of a safety net for the film. And yeah, I kind of think like there was that New York Times article that I read last night after seeing the movie that I kind of feel like the impulse that people have, which I get, to kind of write this off as, you can't paint both sides equally, even in art. I think it's almost like a lazy. I view that as kind of you're not seeing beneath the surface. Anyway, we don't have to talk about this too much because you haven't seen it, but it's just a really interesting film. And one final point on the divisiveness of it, which was that a film like this should be divisive. It's about the division that the kind of end point of Ari says that there's a COVID was the kind of where society snipped its kind of tethers to truthiness, where people were stopped agreeing on what an objective reality was. So I feel like a film like this wouldn't be doing its job if it wasn't itself divisive.
Isn't that contrary to its own message, though? If the film is saying that divisiveness is the problem, then shouldn't the film not be divisive?
Well, I don't think it necessarily intends, like, it doesn't intend to be divisive. In
think
theory,
divisiveness is actually a reflection of the problem that the film's identifying?
Right. That's what I think. Like, I think it's an expected but unintended consequence.
Well, I'll have to look out for it. Given that I don't have a TV, I have more time to go to the movies. So
what are you doing without the TV then? Are you just watching?
I'm just generally walking around in circles in the dark. Yeah, a little bit of iPad, YouTube, and stuff, reading my book, that kind of thing. But
nice, good.
Sitting in this room using my monitor.
You're like in prison.
I am in prison.
Yeah,
it's a tough time for us all.
My thoughts and prayers.
Oh, thank you.
Nick, I've got a. That was so fake, wasn't it?
I believed it. I was on board, and then you undercut it. So just try again, and this time just commit.
I didn't feel like I believed it. I've got I saw an interesting article in Reuters this week about equal Earth projections. Do you know much about equal Earth projections?
I haven't heard the term equal Earth, but by projections, are you meaning like maps, like mapping a sphere onto a flat?
That's right.
Yeah.
Let me just read this article out to you because it's pretty interesting. The African Union urges adoption of world map showing continents' true size. The African Union has backed a campaign to end the use by governments and international organizations of the 16th century Mercator map of the world in favor of one that accurately displays Africa's true size. Created by cartographer Gerardus Mercator for navigation, the projection distorts continent sizes, enlarging areas near the poles like North America and Greenland, while shrinking Africa and South America. Quote, it might seem to be just a map, but in reality it's not, said AU Commission Deputy Chairperson Selma Malika, saying the Mercator fostered a
I believe it's Mercator, just for the record.
Oh, Mercator, okay. Mercator fostered a false impression that Africa was marginal, despite being the world's second largest continent by area with over 1 billion people. Such stereotypes influence media, education, and policy, she said. Criticism of the Mercator map is not new, but the Correct the Map campaign, led by advocacy groups, has revived the debate, urging organizations to adopt the 2018 Equal Earth projection, which tries to reflect countries' true sizes. Quote, the current size of the map of Africa is wrong, said Moki Makura, executive director of Africa No Filter. It's the world's longest misinformation and disinformation campaign, and it simply has to stop. Basically it's I just thought this is interesting. I'm just wondering, do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, you will not be hugely surprised that I have long been fans of a YouTube channel called Map Men, which is about maps and all the kinds of intricate and idiosyncratic ways in which they're drawn. The whole issue of the Mercator projection thing is an interesting one. For the layperson, perhaps who hasn't considered this, the issue with map making is that all of our maps are two-dimensional, flat, horizontal documents, right? And there is a mathematical challenge with transcribing the position of a 3D globe and the continents on it onto a 2D plane. And in order to do that, you have to make certain compromises. So either everything at the equator becomes squished and everything at the poles becomes bigger because you're sort of spreading out the top of the globe in order to make it fit in a 2D plane, or you make other kinds of compromises but end up with wildly different problems. So this is actually a tricky thing to solve. But Africa is not the first.
Does it apply to like if you had like a 3D globe in your house, like as an antique piece? Does that apply?
So a 3D globe should accurately represent a 3D.
Right. So it's
Earth.
just 2D.
So that should be okay. But it's when you're translating a 3D into a 2D, that's when you have to make these distortions and compromises. So, there have been all kinds of complaints, not just Africa, but Africa has as, a good a reason to push for it as any.
I remember hearing in probably high school or something that Australia was actually the biggest, it was actually the same size as the US. And it's a funny kind of calculation that you do in your head because you think of the US as like this huge thing, but I imagine some of that has to do with the number of like states that they have, like because America has 50 states and Australia has 7 territories and states. Like it feels kind of smaller, maybe like psychologically.
Well, the other thing, of course, is that Australia's empty in the middle, with a lot of asterisks on that statement.
Yeah.
But America, left to right, states all the way through it, and population centers all the way through it, fairly uniformly, again, with exceptions. But Australia is basically only around the coast as their populations. And then you have this enormous desert in the middle,
Yeah.
So we have the same geographic size as America, but we have what? 1/16 of the population? And it's because no one's living in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, it was settled hundreds of years later, but also just like geographically, it's not really conducive to life in the middle, like at that kind of density, like America is.
When I first read this article, one of my first thoughts was like, why would it matter? Like, because it doesn't have any. It's interesting, but it's like it doesn't really have any practical purpose or function for Joe Blow, right? But then I'm thinking, like, I'm looking at the Mercator map right now, and the US is huge. So I can imagine it would have political implications, even if it's just affecting people's psychology. We think of Russia as this huge, vast country, and it is, but it's also not as big as it's made out to be. And I do think that has an effect on people's perception of how the might of certain countries.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of discussion about the impact, the perception of countries' sizes as relative to their prominence
Power,
or importance, right? Like, yes, Africa is one thing, but also it's like most of the mapping was done by Europe, and so most of it emphasizes that. Even the decision as to what north is, which way up is up on our maps. Yes, there is a magnetic north, and that there are poles of our globe, of course, but someone at some point had to decide which way was which, and they decided that up was where Europe was,
Right.
and down was where everyone else was.
I think about that all the time. Like, you could just flip the world upside down and it would be the same have the same accuracy. Or you could put it diagonally and it'd be draw the map that way and it'd be accurate as well.
I mean, that's what I'm actually looking for here at the moment, is there are alternatives that we can look at. I will try and find, if this is something that's interested you this week, I'll try and find the MapMem episode about this, because I'm sure they talk about it and they show the visual problems in a really sort of funny but informative way.
Do that.
But speaking about the size distortion, so here, they're saying that Greenland appears the same size as Africa on a Mercator projection map, but Africa is 14 times larger. It's only the equivalent size of the Democratic Republic of Congo alone.
Wow.
Even across Africa to South America, Africa is shown as roughly the same size as South America, but Africa is 1.5 times bigger.
Really?
Wow. Alaska is shown as the same size as Australia, but Australia is 4.5 times bigger. Wow. So, there's all these kind of distortions, and I think it is a completely valid point to say people perceive it differently, right? Your eyes gravitate to the bigger spots on the map, and that influences something, right, about your perception of those places.
Yeah. I wonder if it also has something to do with, because you've got Africa and South America kind of, this is the potential to sound really stupid, so just warning.
That's never stopped us before.
Stupid warning.
Stupid alarm.
Africa and South America are the continents that kind of traverse the north and south hemispheres, or they're kind of smack bang in the middle. I don't know, we've got a lot of Asia in there, but like they go right down, and I feel like Asia is kind of more just in the center. See, I told you.
I'm not quite sure I followed what you were trying to say there.
I'm not sure I do either, but Australia's southern hemisphere, like no one's debating that.
Yep.
Europe.
You're back in acceptable politics. Yeah.
Northern hemisphere, Europe, America, Asia.
You're just naming places on the globe now.
Greenland, Alaska, Russia.
Oh God.
China.
So I can
Well said.
I can show you a few different map types here if you like. So this is theconversation.com. There's one called the Peters projection. The Peters projection has actually been adopted by Boston Public Schools, which is the first US public school district to have actually changed from showing Mercator maps. But the Peters projection distorts the shapes of everything, but it keeps the sizes correct. So when we send it through here, you'll actually see how enormous Africa looks versus the other continents, but everything looks very squished and unusual. So everything up the top, which we're used to see like blown up and enormous, actually feels really cramped and tiny. But then Africa is undeniably huge. And for the other thing, of course, that comes up all the time is New Zealand. It's a pain point here in New Zealand, the whole map issue, because many world maps don't even bother showing New Zealand on the map at all. They just leave it off.
I've heard that.
Like to a point where, like, I think Jacinda Ardern made a plea to map makers to put it there and make sure that it was on, because it's very often forgotten, which is crazy.
That is
we
wild.
got most of it. We got most of it. What? It doesn't matter.
It's like, did you just get you starting left to right, and then you just got tired? And so,
Yeah.
Does anyone really care about New Zealand? No. Let's just call it there.
The crazy thing about New Zealand is when you see it on the Peters projection, which is the one that shows the relative sizes accurately, New Zealand's actually genuinely quite big. New Zealand is as tall as America is, top to bottom. You can fit it in the United States, and it's sort of a match. And that's, again, you don't get that sense from the way it's often drawn, because it looks so, so nothing in the corner typically.
Yeah. I have a joke, but I'm not going to make it.
Did you see that map that I sent you? Does that?
Yeah. So so this is distorted.
This is the Peters. So that shows the relative sizes better.
Okay. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Africa is massive.
Then there are other ones that you can look at here. There's South Up. So South Up is exactly what it sounds like. It's inverting the globe. Like, you'll often see these, I think, in Australia and New Zealand a few times. This is a South Up Peters projection, which is just inverted. And again, the prominence of like, oh, of course, Australia's up the top there, and you got Africa and you got South America. All of a sudden, they look like the important ones, and everything else is just a blob at the bottom.
This is interesting because what it does to my brain is show me that, like, almost better, like, in a more realistic way, shows me how close Australia is to Antarctica or the South Pole.
Yeah.
And when you start thinking of it as the North Pole, you're like, well, I'm actually in like a European kind of city, almost, in Melbourne.
Yeah. Well, the other, this is, tangents on tangents here, but at a certain point, Earth's magnetosphere is going to reverse, and so South will literally become North at some point. But, that's neither here nor there.
What would that mean, though?
We'd have to change our compasses a bit, but,
the toilet water would go around the other way. Okay.
Yeah, and you'd have to eat out of your butt and shit out of your mouth. But other than that, nothing would really change.
And you'd have to drive on the other side of the road.
And you'd have to drive on the other side. There's also Pacific-centered maps. So again, Europe being the home of a lot of map makers, they are the ones that centered Europe and Greenwich Mean Time, like the meridian-centered maps as the center of those things. Because that was their homes, and that's the most important place, obviously. But you can actually put the Pacific in the middle and frame everything else around it. And again, it's just all about perceptions and the implications of what does the world think of itself if, say, Australia is the center of everything.
Yeah. Have you, Tangents on Tangents? Tangents on Tangents would have been a good name for this show.
We've missed so many good names over the years.
Have you been following this comet that's hurtling towards?
Is this a different one to the one like 6 months ago?
No.
The one that everyone's like, oh, there's a decent chance it's going to hit us.
Oumuamua. That was 5 years ago, I think.
No. The one that like 6 months ago, NASA was like, there's a 14% chance it's going to hit.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember that.
And then they like revised it down.
Well, this one's bigger. It's coming fast. It's coming faster. Pause.
I haven't. Are we? Should be worried?
No. It's actually coming on the other side of the solar system. So we'll be on the other. We'll barely be able to see it from Earth, but it's just hurtling towards, and it's a weird shape. And anyway, I've just been thinking about like. What's funny about that?
Oh, just are there ideal shapes for comets? Like what makes it notably weird?
So Oumuamua, which is the one 5 years ago, was kind of cylindrical. They thought, like almost like turd shaped, and they figured this out by the reflection from the sun. So they can see like where the shadows are, and they also thought that Oumuamua was like tumbling in like this cylindrical thing, which is kind of weird. Mm-hmm. And so you can also see, and by you I mean
a scientist.
astronauts and stuff,
Yeah.
can see like the gas trail that's left behind. Like often comets it will leave this kind of gas. They'll go from solid to gas rather than, have that liquid transition, and that's what creates the tail.
Yeah, gotcha.
And a lot of comets that kind of come into our solar system, what have you, will be just kind of naturally be kind of more of a ball shape. But it looks like this one might be more cylindrical as well. But there's a lot of talk about, especially on X, about this being a probe sent from another galaxy.
I was going to say, wasn't
they think that what they think at the moment, and they'll have a better idea once it passes through the solar system, that this, based on the speed and a few other factors that I can't remember, they think this particular rock could be older than even our solar system.
Yeah.
It's billions and billions of years old. But yeah, a lot of people saying that it could be an alien probe coming to check.
Well, I was going to say, I thought Oumuamua was meant to be an alien for a while there.
It was meant to be.
Yeah.
It was meant to be, but it didn't. Just look like a space turd. Just a regular space turd.
Maybe they got to NASA.
Yeah, but maybe we have hopes that this will be actual aliens.
Well, who's we in this? That X users.
Me and my fellow
Elon,
my fellow ET lovers.
Yeah, the UAP heads.
UA people.
The UA people was right there.
There you go.
I just listened to Close Encounters, your Christmas song again, because I'm getting into the Christmas song mood again. I'm starting to think, I'm percolating, and I was going back and fuck, that song's so good.
Thanks, dude. It is a banger. Shout out to Casper.
Shout out to Kaz. And shout out to everyone who hasn't heard our Christmas songs in a while. They're up on Spotify. Go listen to the first volume and last year's as well. It's getting to that season somehow.
Yeah, I had that thought this week as well. It's like,
nothing. I don't think we've ever looked more alike than we have in this pod at the same time. When you were leaning in there, we were basically wearing the same t-shirt, wearing glasses, similarly bearded, similarly haired.
You wearing a Hillary shirt, dude?
I'm wearing a Hillary. You're wearing Bernie. It says "Gays for Hillary," and it was not her most popular t-shirt, but I invested. Anyway.
Speaking of Hillary and Bernie, well, not really, but what's your take on this Gavin Newsom tact, where he's mimicking Trump? You got any thoughts about that? It seems to be working.
I mean, he has good social media interns. I find him unpalatable, but I think the general status quo with which Democratic politicians have been treating the Trump presidency like it's normal and like he's negotiable, and
it's weak sauce, dude.
It's weak and it's ineffective and it's frustrating, and at least he's doing something that at least is entertaining to read. I think there are much better candidates than Newsom. I hate that he's thrown trans people under the bus in some goal of being centrist and getting votes. And I think we can aim, and I say we as someone who has no say in the matter, I think the left can aim for better candidates and should do. But is it entertaining that he's mimicking Trump's shit? Absolutely. Well, I don't know if he's
getting under
has
his
there been
skin,
response from? Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Has it got response from Trump?
Not only has it gotten a response from Trump, it's getting a response from Fox News and right-wing media outlets going, just like not getting it, going, he sounds crazy. Like I've seen so many clips of like Jesse Waters and stuff, just going like, this guy's crazy, and he's just like not getting it. I do.
Well, I mean,
Look, I think Newsom is, he's ultra slick. He's ultra politician-y. He's like pretty boy kind of. He's got a really weird kind of gloss to him.
Yeah, his vibe's off.
But I do from time to time listen to his podcast. I think he's doing strategically, saying nothing about his likability or whatever. I think strategically he's doing something interesting where we've talked about this before. You think that the left needs to go further to the left in order to get reelected, and I think a common sense candidate is the only way that the Democrats can kind of win back public favor or trust. And I think Newsom reaching out to across the aisle, making it a somewhat active effort to speak to, even Steve Bannon, is an interesting way to go about that. And I think it could. I think it's a swing, which I think the Democrats need someone who's going to actually swing.
I agree with that. They need someone who's going to fight and who has fight with them and is going to actually advocate for the people. I think you and I disagree on making what making appeals to the general voter means, because when I say we need someone to go more to the left, it's because every Democrat for the past fucking 20 years has tried to play to the middle line, to the base, and you can't peel off right-wing voters like that anymore. And all you do is start talking in these, like cutting slivers of like focus grouped, marketable kind of demographic positionings. And really, when you look at someone like Zohran come in, or AOC to a certain extent, when they advocate for just clear, beneficial policies, they are universally appealing. Like when you poll the masses about things like, I don't know, rent control, or universal health care, or like voting rights, they're all extremely popular. It just need a Democrat to come out and actually say, yes, sorry, all of you loonies, talking about trans people like they're a threat to society are fucking crazy and fuck off. Yeah. And, all of these people who are saying we can't, afford our rent or whatever, here's the real policies I'm going to do. I'm not talking about going crazy left in the sense of you need to be out there, enforcing pronouns in everyone's email signature, and, there's no such thing as gendered bathrooms or all this kind of like right-wing talking points. All you have to do as a left person is just actually advocate for the working class and for the people who have struggles with healthcare and food access or any of these things, because they're extremely popular policies. All you have to do by going quote left is just fucking advocate for them and say, this is the vision of the future that I will bring to this country. And that will be successful because those issues already poll successfully.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And I think Zohran's an interesting phenomenon to come out like seemingly out of nowhere. I mean, at least in the public eye, because some of the I'm not fully across it, but some of the policies that I've heard about here, like obviously he's a socialist, but he's saying what is he saying about supermarkets, having government run supermarkets and stuff like that.
Yeah,
these are kind of radical ideas, and I think government run supermarkets. It seems like it's very hard to see how that would actually work in reality. But yeah, maybe you are right that he is another guy taking a swing. He's like trying to do something, and I think it's
huge. Popular. That's the thing. Right. He won the primary. I mean, we'll see how the overall vote goes. I think odds are he's got a good shot at it. But and I think Cuomo's campaign, if anything, is going to dilute the right-wing candidate, not the Mamdani voter.
100%.
But Mamdani's social strategy is really good as well. Like if you're talking about Newsom having this, this team writing these kind of posts, or even if it's him or whatever, like that's good and it moves the needle. But his videos are really good. Like he's very likable. He comes off very eloquent, and they're putting out these Mamdani, yeah, they're putting out these videos regularly that are really engaging and convincing, and a lot of political advertising isn't convincing. And I think that because he's so policy focused and so like human, it's really engaging.
Yeah,
I literally saw today, this is random, he's doing a scavenger hunt across New York City. Yeah, he's putting clues up on the feed, and people are going to like run around the city and find shit. Like that's fun. That's a cool idea.
Yeah, and I think there's an authenticity to him that is very appealing and people are craving for, and that's,
Totally.
yeah, Trump has an authenticity to him, even though his authentic self is fucking shit.
Garbage.
There's no authenticity to him. He's himself. He's like, here I am. I'm a big pile of garbage, and people are like, good on you, buddy. And I think Mamdani is he's there's an enthusiasm and excitement to him and an authenticity, and he, you and I were speaking about Adam Friedland the other day. He went on Adam Friedland's show, who's like kind of
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's worth a listen. It's interesting because Adam Friedland's kind of maybe an edgier progressive, but an edgier kind of comic, and he's doing the podcast rounds as well with he did reject going on Bill Maher's show though.
Is that right?
I heard Bill Maher complaining about it last week. Yeah.
Good riddance. I find it heartening. At the end of the day, I just find it heartening that there is any sign of any life in all of these people, because the amount of, erosion of democratic norms that is just being sleepwalked through by so many of the democratic leaders is disheartening, and it devalues the vote, right? Like it makes you less likely to want to turn out for people when the people you put in to advocate for you don't do shit, right?
Yeah.
So there's a big groundswell in a few places to primary all of these people and replace them with up and coming, democratic candidates who push for shit again, because
totally
most of them don't.
And I also think the other factor is just staying on the US kind of political side of things. 2028 is going to be a very different election with AI. I think it's going to, by 2028, in 3 years' time, it's going to the world's going to be a different place. I think with jobs and AGI and super intelligence and all that
we
stuff.
won't have AGI in the next 3 years.
Okay.
I'll bet you $50. What do you reckon? Should we put a bet on it? By 2028?
Sure.
Listeners, hold us to this.
But I think it will. I think that will have that'll be a big part of the election come 2028.
I agree. I mean, I think the influence of technology has only grown more and more corrosive, I guess is the word, of those processes. Though I think it has to be said that the effect of technology on democracy, I think, only goes as far as the democratic system it's in permits, right? If America was a stronger democracy where voting was enshrined as a legal right and it was on a holiday and you didn't have all these ID laws or gerrymandering or all these kind of shit, then perhaps the influence of, Facebook and fake imagery is lessened by the other safeguards. I think the threat is larger by the fact that none of those things are there in the way that they are in Australia or New Zealand.
Perhaps. I mean, the other thing is also that we don't know if Trump's going to try and run again.
That's going to be a very interesting question.
Well, all of the things that he's doing now, it just seems like these are not the types of things that someone would do if they don't think they're going to run again. Especially knowing Trump's psychology a little bit, it's okay, obviously he's trying to broker a deal between Ukraine and Russia purely because he wants another notch on his belt in the way of a Nobel Peace Prize, which is just kind of hilarious.
Quote the article I sent you earlier, right?
What article?
Do you remember what he said? I'm doing it because I want to get into heaven.
Oh, right. Yeah,
he had this moment of I'm a little nervous that I'm not gonna get in. So if I can broker peace, then I'll get into heaven. That's a real quote. I mean, I've paraphrased it. That's a real thing that he said.
Yeah, I just can't believe that he believes in God. I feel like that's. I'm not sure if I believe him there.
It's such a weird intersection, because we know he's a narcissist, which means we know he does value himself more than anyone else in the world, And if he's only ever been looking out for number one and he's now 80, then he starts to have to think about these things. So I can sort of see it.
And maybe with the assassination attempt, maybe. Yeah.
But he's so not a Christian in every other part of his life that it feels odd to hear any sort of religiosity out of him, right?
Like, it would totally track though for him to just slap it on the end of his life, just a bit of religion.
Totally. Well, that's Catholicism, right? Like, as long as you can deathbed repentance, right? As long as you do it by the very last second, you're fine, you're sweet. So
yeah, it's just cramming at the end.
Cramming before the exam. I mean, that's an interesting, because I can see both directions where he's clearly deteriorating. Like, even mentally, like 8 years ago to today, he's worse. He's unsteadier. He's unwinding. So I'm not sure that I like, he's never really seemed passionate about the job. He's just liked the power. So I could see him getting to the end of this one and being sort of like, ugh, I don't want to do this again. Let me just ride off into the sunset. But he has this ego thing where he didn't want to lose. So he had to go back and win again to prove that he could. But I could almost see the argument, oh, you can't do a third term, as him being his exit, where he's like, well, I would have won again, but the bloody left, they won't let me because, I could have won. All my lawyers say I could have won. I could have run a third time. But, the corrupt, deep state, they kept me out of it. So, off I go to my resort to live out the rest of the days.
It's an easy out for him. Yeah. Like, in terms of the winning kind of mindset, it's an easy out. But I don't know. I think the same thing with Rupert Murdoch. Like, these guys, they just keep fucking charging right to the end. Yeah. But like, even just chasing the power, even Murdoch, he's like 8,000 years old.
I'm pretty sure he's nearly 100.
I'm like, at what point you're staring death in the face? At what point are you just going to be like, okay, I'm just going to go to Vanuatu and have a pina colada? Like, what is this kind of desire that's just like more and then death?
He's 94. He's 94. I'm pretty sure he's still at least titular leader of these companies. He was chairman of Fox till 2023, still on the board of News Corp and Fox.
These guys, I cannot believe that they believe in a higher power than themselves. Like, you cannot be 94 years old and still chasing power like you're like a dog on a bone, and also believe that, maybe there's an afterlife for eternity, that maybe I'll be able to bribe St. Peter and get into heaven.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lawsuit about it at the moment, right? Like, aren't his kids fighting? I'm pretty sure that his I forget which one's which. I think they gave Lachlan control of News Corp or something like that. And Lachlan is also really conservative, but James is challenging it because it should have been equally given to... I can't remember. There's some sort of literal succession play in order to see who gets what. But you don't have those kind of fights with a patriarch unless that guy is still fighting for control, right? Like, in 94.
Left, yeah. It's wild, man. It's wild. I'm gonna look. We're gonna make another bet. $50. Trump's not getting into heaven. God, if you're listening, hold us accountable.
Okay.
Nick's $50 that Trump is going to get to heaven, which is kind of a surprise.
So I've long thought that he had, an inner golden heart.
You've always seen his nice side, haven't you?
Oh my God. Have you seen what Murdoch looks recently?
Yeah, he's on my phone wallpaper.
He is here. I'm going to put this photo in. It'll be on your chapter title.
Thank you.
He's looking 94. That's what I'll say. But his current spouse, who is his fifth wife,
good on him.
Looks a lot younger.
Oh yeah. Well, he's got time. He can squeeze in another wife, I reckon, before this.
Rupert Murdoch was engaged in March 2024 to retired Russian molecular biologist Elena Zhukova, who's the ex-wife of Russian businessman Alexander Zhukov. Their wedding was held in June 2024. Murdoch is 93 and Zhukova is 67.
Jesus.
Speaking of election stuff, there's actually been a push in New Zealand recently. The current Conservative coalition here has proposed changing the electoral rules here to stop same-day registrations, to minimize like special votes and these kind of things, to remove voting rights from people in prison and all these kind of things, like a whole swathe of quite right-leaning, almost American import voting regulations to try and minimize. You weren't going to be banned from giving food within like food or drinks to people in line, these kind of things. And, the contrast to Australia where like democracy sausage is its own sort of meme and celebrated part of the voting process. Over here, they're trying to take food away from that because of some quote unquote, risk of bias or, like bribery of a voter by like giving them a sausage at the door. I don't think anyone has ever like had a sausage and been like, oh, Labor's sausage was better than the Green sausage. I'll change my vote at the last second.
Yeah, I do find it annoying. Like, I think they should ban the people passing, like trying to get your vote in the line with the pamphlet thing. Like, I hate that. It's also
I don't think that's meant to convince you of the vote. That's meant to be for someone who's decided to vote that way to help you. If you're a Labor voter and you haven't paid attention, but you vaguely want Albanese, and again, you go in and it says put one here, put one there, and now I've done it the way that I need to do it, right? Yeah. There's no like that piece of paper doesn't convince you of what the policies are or anything like that, right?
I guess so. I just find it annoying. I tell them that.
It is.
Give me a pamphlet, I'm not voting for him. That's what I said. Nick, I need to make a wee out of my pee and get a coffee. Is that okay?
Okay, I'll do the outro then. Is there anything you want me to mention in the outro?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, I'll wing it. Yeah,
you got it. You got it. You know what you're doing.
I do. Well, if you've enjoyed this episode, thank you so much. We hope that you are continuing to be engaged with the world around you through the, political discussions that we've had here. And if you'd like to sort of step back in time and find some other things that were once relevant but are no more, then I suggest you listen to some older episodes. They're still very entertaining. There's still plenty to enjoy. So go back in time and listen to something. Maybe the one from the night that Trump won the first time, because that was a pod. You can also get in contact with us if you have feedback about the things that we talked about. You can send us an email to deepfort@gmail.com. You can reach out to us on Instagram, on Facebook. You can write a comment for us on the Spotify episode. Michael, do we have any comments on Spotify this week? He is not here. And you can, of course, do your best to vote in a democratic system to advocate for the people around you and make the world a better place. Still not back.
How'd the outro go?
I think I crushed it. I feel really good about it. Sometimes when I'm talking, I'm like stumbling over words and my brain is really fighting to think about what the next thing I need to say is, and it's a bit of a process. But with this one, I was just in the flow.
In the zone.
It was just there.
The outro zone.
Crushed it. I was in the outro zone.
Proud of you, brother.
Thanks, bro. Well, Michael, I have two potential directions to go here. I have some myths and I have a weird news. The weird news is really upsetting and the myths are kind of fun. What would you like?
Both.
Okay, weird news it is.
In the news today from the Strange and Weird Fact File.
Well, for decades, only crackpots and crazy people believed in UFOs.
Deputies say the suspect told them he's been performing sex acts on animals since the 1970s.
It's all about my close encounter with the Yeti. Totally true.
A sticky situation at an airport in Tennessee after baggage was sprayed with rust.
Turns out, the government had been taking them seriously all along.
This is Deep Thought Weird News with Michael Zuberefkalasluj.
Ah, good times. Okay, so this is an article in Ars Technica, a website which historically was more about computers and technology, and this is not. This is an article entitled Worm Invades Man's Eyeball, Leading Doctors to Suck Out His Eye Jelly. Correct. Michael, this is a story about a 35-year-old man in India who was bothered by his left eye. It was red and blurry. When he finally visited an ophthalmology clinic, it didn't take long for doctors to unearth the cause. Warnings to everyone listening, we're getting gross. We're getting gross. In a case report in the New England Journal of Medicine, doctors report they first noted the eye was bloodshot and inflamed, and the pupil was dilated and fixed. The man's vision was 20/80. A quick look inside the eye revealed it was all due to a small worm which they watched moving sluggishly in the back of his eyeball. To gouge out the parasitic pillager, the doctors performed a pars plana vitrectomy, a procedure that involves sucking out the jelly-like vitreous inside the eye. This procedure can be used in the treatment of various eye conditions, but using it to hoover up worms is rare. In order to get in, the doctors make tiny incisions in the white parts of the eye, the sclera, and use a hollow needle-like device with suction. They replace the extracted eye jelly with things like saline. In this case, the device was able to suck in part of the worm's tail and drag it out, still squirming. Under the microscope, they identified the peeper creeper. With a bulbous head, well-formed intestines, and thick outer layer, it perfectly fit the description of Gnathostoma spinagerum, a known bodily marauder that can sometimes wiggle its way into eyeballs. Here's a picture, Michael. I'll send this through in the chat.
No thanks.
This is the worm that was lodged in the eyeball. You can see actually here that they are attempting to suck it out with the tube. You don't seem to be clicking. You don't seem to
Oh, sorry, that's just Rupert Murdoch. No, that's actually not as bad as Rupert Murdoch did.
Humans can get these worms when they accidentally eat undercooked forms of any kind of intermediary or paratenic host, like undercooked fish or chicken. It starts with the larva moving through the walls of the stomach, intestines, or liver, and causes vague symptoms like fever or tiredness. Then the infection enters a second phase where they go on a food journey, feasting on flesh while visiting various organs. Most often the larvae end up in the skin, causing red, painful, itchy rashes, but they can also wind up in the lungs, bladder, ears, nervous system, brain, and eyes. Luckily, the man was okay, and after removing the worm, they treated him with corticosteroids to help with the inflammation, put him on an antiparasitic drug, and after 8 weeks his symptoms improved. But his vision didn't fully recover because he developed a cataract, which is a common complication after this kind of surgery. So, yeah, Michael, there was a worm in this guy's eye.
When you initially said that doctors sucked out a worm out of this guy's eye, I for real thought that they just with their mouths, they sucked it out with their mouths.
Well, we don't actually know what the suction device was. It just says they put a tube there to catch the end, but they could have been like a straw and they were on the other end.
Yeah, like a venom out of a snake bite or something.
Yeah.
Well, that was deeply unsettling.
Yeah, that's weird news. I mean, it's nice to turn the tables for once.
No, that's gross news. That's gross news.
Okay.
Very different.
Can you define the difference for me?
Pretty obvious. Okay. If I
do you think this is common but gross?
What's common?
Well, it seems like you were arguing it isn't weird, which I interpret to be unusual. And this seems unusual to me. But if you're suggesting that everyone knows the story of the eye worms and that this was not sufficiently weird enough, well, then I can only apologize.
There can be overlap between weird and gross news, but I think it's more weird than gross. So, sorry.
You need to be at least 60-40. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. You'll get there.
Well, I'll keep practicing. Michael, I've got some myths for you.
Yeah, what are they?
Well, first I have to play the song. It goes a little bit like this.
Michael's moved, annoyed, displeased, riled up, offended, aggrieved, irritated,
I'll put that in the edit. It'll make sense.
Okay.
Just explaining how podcast edits work. So I've got a couple of things here. In fact, I've brought receipts. I actually have pictures and videos to send to you for these two myths.
A little show and tell.
A little bit of show and tell. Do you have myths as well, or is it just going to be me?
I got a myth. I always got myths.
Cool. Alrighty. I'll send you my first myth for today. This is myth number 1, Michael. Oh, you know when you are cleaning up and you've bought a cheap sponge? There's just nothing worse. I hate a sponge that leaves a trail of water. I hate a sponge that isn't absorbent. And worst of all, I hate a sponge that squeaks. Click play on the video right now, Michael.
Oh. That's squeaky. That's
Disgusting. Just every time I have to use it, I'm dissatisfied. It leaves a trail of water everywhere, and I bought it in a 3-pack, so I have 3 of these fuckers to get through.
there's nothing you can do.
It's so annoying, Michael.
This is like ASMR. Are you kidding with this shit, dude?
Oh, I didn't think we were going to peak right at the end, but that was a new high for this episode.
Yeah, dude.
That's
Well,
even
that
better
3
than
seconds
UA
ago.
people.
I'm on fire today, dude. Sobriety. I'm on turbo.
We didn't even talk about that. I know we're mid myths, but why have you stopped drinking?
Just felt like it. Just
Okay.
wanted to.
Try July.
I've done it basically at the start. Well, a third of the way through August. I don't know. Just felt like I wanted to. It's annoying how good I feel because Dave Weber. He's since he had a kid, he stopped boozing it up, and I'll check it. So it's been like 7 months now, I think. And I'll check in with him. I'm like, how's the sobriety going? And he'll say, oh, it's like literally life changing. I'm like, fuck.
You're like, that's not the answer that I wanted.
Yeah, and I just wanted to get back into because I lost momentum. This is now really going off, but you asked me yesterday about the thoracic outlet syndrome with my shoulder and stuff, and I felt like only recently I completely lost my momentum with the gym after that injury, and only recently started to feel like going to the gym wasn't a chore. So I was like, I'm going to remove booze. I'm going to go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. I'm just going to reset. And my sleeping has been a bit off as well lately. And yeah, even in the last 2 weeks, Pepsi's she's got tummy issues from time to time. So she'll have to go like diarrhea in the night. And so I'm getting up seriously, cavoodles really do have that issue. She'll just like eat a moth and then she'll be like, well, I'm fucked for 3 weeks. And yeah, so like even last night I got up 4 separate times throughout the night and just being able to fall back asleep. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? So I think, yeah. Anyway.
Well, I'm glad. And it is funny how much that is the exact same thing you said last time.
No, I was hoping you were. I didn't want to tell you because of that. Because you're going to hold me accountable.
No, I'm not holding you accountable. I want you to, do whatever you want. But it is funny that it has remained true. And I'm glad that you're in a good spot at the moment.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Squeaky sponges.
Squeaky sponge. The squeaky sponge gets the oil.
No, I agree. I would hate that as well. It's hard to mop. It's hard to. That's a electric stovetop that you got there. They're hard to clean because you can't use chemicals, right?
I use a bit of Jif on.
You do?
Yeah, but I haven't read the manual to know.
Someone told me that you shouldn't do that. Yeah. I would honestly hate. I feel this myth. I would honestly hate that.
My parents' house has a gas stove and they have a stainless steel, And that was always annoying to clean because that one you did need
Get
to
in the
use
nooks
like
and crannies, yeah.
yeah, the crannies, but also like had to use a stainless steel only cleaner and yeah, it was finicky. You had to lift the plates off the burners, off the things and everything. At least with an electric, you can just wipe over it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
No, I feel that one.
Myth me.
I go to the movies a lot, and there's a cinema around the corner from my house that plays more kind of blockbustery kind of movies as opposed to the Cinema Nova, which is a little bit further, but I like it a bit better. It's a bit dirtier, but a bit more art housey. So we went to see, what did we see the other day, Lauren and I? Weapons. We saw Weapons, and great movie. Did we talk about Weapons last time?
No.
Weapons is a great movie. I wasn't expecting to love it. But they've got the reclining seats, right? So you've got a bit of a more of a mainstream crowd at this cinema. They've got it's inarguably way more comfortable. The seats are huge. You got the reclining seat.
Yeah. Is it a footrest as well?
There's a footrest that pops out. But I never use it because I think that the reclining seats are doing a disservice to the cinema experience. I don't want to feel comfortable in a movie theater, and I don't think anyone else should feel comfortable because it kind of gives you this feeling of like I'm in my lounge room, and people just abuse it. Psychologically, they're leaning back, and then all of a sudden you've got like taking your shoes off. And then you're calling your mum.
The guy next to you just jerking off,
jerking off your husband in the back, which it's not that bad, but I just think it just it creates the wrong atmosphere in a movie theater. I think you want more of a just kind of a classroom kind of feel in there, like a hard wooden chair.
Where if you're not paying attention, someone will come along and slap you. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want you to feel not you're in a friend's house that you don't maybe your friend's parents' house where you're you don't want to lean back
full
too
slouch.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like an airplane seat would be good.
Oh,
that doesn't
the famously least comfortable seats that humanity has invented.
That's what I want. Like if you're going to recline, you're going to have the recline option. It reclines like 3 degrees back.
I'm pushing back slightly, but I do agree, actually. I don't actually find it comfortable to be fully reclined in a cinema. Totally. Like the back curvature and the neck position and everything, it's not the way that I want to be positioned to watch a thing. I don't actually find that angle very supportive. So, for my migraine, I'm very self-conscious about like neck position and everything. Yeah. So I tend to sit very upright at the best of times. But I don't actually find a recliner ideal in the first place.
Thank you for backing me up.
Have you ever been to what's a good example? Like a really old theater, like a drama theater, or this is a wanky comparison, but like Shakespeare's Bowl in the UK, like any of these old places. The seats are awful, like rigid. Truly uncomfortable.
They creak.
Then they're like wooden benches, but like I'm pretty sure it's Shakespeare's Bowl. They're like you have about 15 centimeters of leg room. Like if you actually wanted to sit down, you almost have to like squeeze your legs to the side because there's not enough room for it. So
I would like a little bit more leg. No, I would like a bit more leg room because you want the option of like. Where did I go recently that was like that? When I saw Eddie and Morgan's film Iron Winter, it was in the MIF Federation Square. Acme. No, it wasn't IMAX. Sure. But it was like if there was no chance. We were in the middle section, there was no chance of once you were there being able to squeeze because it was a task just to try and to like get past anyone. So I would like a bit more legroom, but I don't want enough legroom that you can recline and set up camp.
I do have to say, I think I have slipped my shoes off in a movie before.
Oh, same.
I just wanted to be upfront with you. I feel like I can trust you.
Same, but I don't know if I've done it since Wallace. I abused the Wallace kind of game that we were running.
Well,
there.
you worked there.
Yeah, but we would often go to the movies when there was no one in there because we could, we're in uni schedule. You can go to a 11:30 a.m. session. That's fine.
Yeah. All right, I have one last myth here, and I feel like we're going out on a bang. Michael, check your chats. I'm dropping it in right now. Picture yourself, it's 3:30 p.m. It's after school. You're ready for a little bevo, a little pick-me-up before you're doing your homework. You open the pantry, you grab out your tin of Milo, you lever off the lid, and then you see this, Michael.
Oh, a half ripped foil?
Half-ripped foil.
100%, dude.
This, as far as I can tell, is a war crime. And I don't say that lightly, knowing that there are several real important wars, being played out at the moment.
No, don't downplay it. Yeah,
this
to all
is
our Palestinian listeners out there.
This is...
I think they get it.
Fuck. This is a half-ripped foil on a Milo tin. And frankly, there has never been a Milo mission so important that you only need to rip half the foil off. I frankly struggle to understand how such a thing could happen, because personally, and maybe this says more about me than I should really be willing to admit, personally, starting a new tin of Milo and getting to be the one to pierce the foil is kind of a highlight. And getting to jab it and then rip the thing out, that's unwrapping the Christmas present. And to have so carelessly ripped half of it and left the other half there like some sort of unwanted yogurt pot, it really just baffles me.
So this is obviously your partner.
We can't point fingers here as to who. There's no proof as to who might have done this. But
can you take me through your process of ripping it off? Because I do think this is interesting. I don't drink Milo because I'm a grown man, but I have, with my ADHD medication, it has the same, it's a smaller hole, but it has the same foil thing. And it is, maybe I have the same OCD thing with you where I can't access it in my head unless the whole thing is gone and it's smooth, and I don't want to cut myself as well. So can you take me through how do you pierce it in the how do you do it?
Yeah, thank you for asking. This is the most excited I've been to talk about anything on the show.
You're not joking. You are not joking as well.
I definitely will go for I'll grab a spoon typically. Okay. Sometimes if it's a little bit more of a time sensitive situation, I'll go for the knife. But
I love the idea of a time sensitive Milo situation.
Yeah, and also just to push back on your, I don't drink Milo because I'm a grown up. This is actually protein Milo for big boys. So thank you very much.
Big boys. Okay.
So if I'm really wanting to savor it, I'll grab a spoon, a tablespoon, and I'll just do a little bit of almost like seasoning like a snare drum, like just
are you using the spoon part of the spoon?
The spoon. I was the spoon of the spoon.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll spoon the spoon, but that's mostly just for the fun of you can make little dents and patterns and things as you go, and then one firm, just tap a little bit, see how far you could stretch it without it breaking. There's fun to be had for hours.
That's the creative part. Yeah,
that's the creative part of it.
And then the
murder comes out. Then it's like you pierce, and then you peel, and you really need to peel 360 degrees. You need to, even if it comes off and apart, you pick up where you left off, and you make sure that you get the remaining parts around the corner, and you can actually, if you are concerned, Michael, about safety, about sharp edges, you can then use your finger to gently tuck the harsh bits back underneath the lip, so you have a completely clean, aperture there for Milo removal.
Okay, no, I respect that. I would probably use the end of the spoon to do it, because I'm trying to imagine the actual spoon part of the spoon working. But maybe if you're murdering,
Yeah, it's not that thick. Like, it depends on the spoon, I guess. But it sounds like you'd prefer a knife, which is perfectly valid.
But a butter knife, because I'm with you. I don't want a pointy kind of steaky knife. I feel like the sound of that or the feeling of that.
The sound would be yeah. That might be a little teeth grating. I know some
shivers.
people don't like the aluminium noises.
Yeah. No, but I respect that, dude. What kind of patterns are you making?
I would tend to go quite uniform. So I think you could almost like sort of like little rows of indentations, you know?
Okay, like a binary
sort of
code
textural.
kind
It's
of thing.
textural, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
It's not like
cool.
I'm drawing a bunny or something. You know?
Well, next time you do.
Next
make a
time I do it,
pattern,
I'll show you.
Put it
Yeah.
up on the Deep Ford Instagram. That'd be.
I'll have to
get
go
some
buy another
engagement,
tin,
hopefully.
because this one's not going to do it.
Yeah, throw it out. Get some new sponges while you're there, maybe.
Yeah, I should. Yeah.
Well, you're right. We really did go out with a bang. That was. Whew.
Yeah. You know, I like to save something up for the end.